Here we go once more then with the senior action as the carts head onto the circuit. The grid lines up with the Groups B and Group D, and the one taking pole position this time round is going to be Joey van Splunteren. Joey's had some good results so far, but can it be a first win of the day? Got Jarno Gewurz for company alongside. Then back on row number 2, it's going to be Ollie Clark, first of the Brits, with Christopher Chennai there in 4th place. Row 3 then lines up with Della Arahawi with Daniel Stell in 6th place. Row 4 sees Jan-Philipp Springup with Sebastian de Grande alongside him. Row 5, Ida Cohen and Manuel Gallifrey-Torna. Row 6 lines up with Patrick Keeble and Isaac Baltenham. Row 7 then sees Manav Hijawi with Tom Nippers. And row number 8 is going to be Ethan Hawkey with Dimitri Fick. And then Ewan Long will be the final one on the grid down there in 17th position. So as we said, Brett Ward, Mark Kimber winners so far. Who is going to take the win in this next senior race? Joey van Splunteren was out in heat number 1. He got himself a 2nd place. Ollie Clark, who's in this heat as well, got himself a 3rd place. And the other one we saw out as well was Jarno Gewurz. Jarno Gewurz struggled earlier on. He only got to 7th position. And Christopher Chennai in his first heat got 5th place. All of those have been there or thereabouts. That's where you'll probably be looking to see one of the winners. Also mixed up there as well is going to be Daniel Stell and Della Arahawi from the 3rd row of the grid. Our potential winners have been very strong so far across the course of the weekend. But let's see how this one will unfold. 11 laps again to look forward to for Groups B against Group D. Getting himself back into position there was one of the front runners, just out of sync as they head down towards the last couple of corners, but it looks like they're now all in position, ready to go. The marshals have slowed them right down into the last couple of corners. It's now going to be up to our pole man, Joey van Splunteren, to get them to the line in good formation as well. 11 laps ahead of us then as the red lights are on for the seniors. Heat number 4 of the day, which gets underway, and a great start there from the poleman Joey van Splunteren, who will lead them down to the first corner. It's going to be Jarno Gewurz, who's been hung out to dry there. He's not going to be towards the front of the field by the looks of it. It's going to be storming through. Ollie Clark up into 2nd place. 3rd place then is going to be Christopher Chennai, and then behind them it looks like coming through is Daniel Steele into 4th position. So a really bad start there from Jarno Gewurz. He missed the start completely. It was Joey van Splunteren who was away with it, no hesitation whatsoever, but Jarno Gewurz just missed it absolutely. He's now going to have to carve his way through as quick as possible to get himself back to the front. There's been drama down at turn number 8. There's been a few that have ventured off the track, trying to work out who they were. They were kind of mid-pack there, so it could have possibly been involved Jarno Gewurz. We'll have a look as they complete lap number 1, but no denying who's out front. It's Joey van Splunteren in his machine as he works his way through the final corners, and it's going to be there in 2nd place. Good start coming from the 266 machine of Christopher Chennai to jump up ahead of Ollie Clark on that lap. So 2nd and 3rd go through. 4th place then for Daniel Stell. He's made a great start from 6th place on the grid, and coming through in 5th place is going to be Jan-Philipp Springup to complete lap number 1 in 5th position. Whereas Jarno Gewurz gone, he's down to 9th place. So he's dropped what's going to be 8 positions, so in fact 7 positions on that first lap. So Jarno Gewurz, really bad job there, as down the inside line of Ollie Clark goes Daniel Stell. He now jumps up into 3rd place, and Ollie Clark's got work to do as Daniel Stell nearly loses the back end there on the approach to turn number 10, but he catches it and regains himself. The ones we had in drama at the hairpin were Ethan Hawkey and Manav Hijawi. They are quite a way adrift at the minute, so both of those are down in last and penultimate last places at the minute as Joey van Splunteren goes through for yet another time, but now he's starting to be caught here by Christopher Chennai. So Christopher is on a real charge at the minute as they work their way in towards turn 3. Let's see if Christopher can make an attack on this lap. He's all over the curbs there. Some great lines being taken from Christopher. Not shy at all is that man in 2nd place. He tries to work his magic on the race leader, Joey van Splunteren. Slight look over the shoulder there from Daniel Stell, who's got Ollie Clark still for company in 4th place, and almost catching them now is our 5th base man, which is Jan-Philipp Springup, who's got himself attached to the leading 4. They work their way through the hairpin once more. Behind the top 5 we have 6th place for Della Arahawi, and Isaac Valtenham has made a good start from 12th on the grid up into 7th place. So a great start from Isaac Valtenham. Leaders coming through once more then. Joey van Splunteren still leading by about 0.2 of a second as they complete this next lap. In fact, it's down to even less than that now, just over 1/10 of a second between him and Christopher Chennai. On the run now down towards turn number 3. Still no way through for Christopher, just biding his time here, a long way to go. But look at the curb he takes again through turn number 3. Here's the man who's really chucking his cart about. He is not worried about anything to do with that cart at the minute. It's working well under pressure, and it's given a lot of pressure to the race leader, Joey Van Splundtrum, as they head now onto this fourth lap. And I think there's just possibly been a change as we look at the leaders. Let's see if they've gone through. Joey Van Splundtrum still remains there. Here comes now the attack from behind, because through has gone Daniel Stell, and also Ollie Clark gets the job done as well. So look at that. Christopher Chennai was attacking, but one attack has left him now out in the dust, and it has put him down into fourth place. So it just shows how quick these places can change. Christopher Chennai finds himself down in fourth place, and the race leader, Joey Van Splundtrum, finds himself now with a slightly bigger gap out front. It extends to 0.6 of a second. Daniel Stell has jumped up into second place. Ollie Clark sits there in third position. Christopher Chennai is down to fourth, and then behind him as well, trying to get through on that lap, was Abdallah Arahawi, but no way through as of yet. Abdallah Arahawi is in fact the quickest man on circuit at 51.120. Not quite as quick as the previous senior competitors went in heat number 3, but they're getting there slowly but surely. They're going to have to dive down to a 50-second lap time. But Abdallah Arahawi is the first man to do that on this 5th lap of the race. Slight look over the shoulder there from Ollie Clark, just to see what's happening behind as they work their way back towards us. Let's see if there's going to be any further moves. There is Christopher Chennai in 4th place. Abdallah Arahawi on the attack at the minute, and he may be able to get the job done at turn number 1. Let's see if Abdallah Arahawi can go for the move. Yes, he can. Look at that back end stepping out. There's a bit of contact with rear bumper to front bumper, but no major damage there as Abdallah Arahawi gets himself through into 4th place. So the race now just starting to unfold, unfortunately, for Christopher Chennai, who dropped down into 5th place, as Ollie Clark has now lowered the lap time to below 51 seconds. It's a 50.916 for the man who sits there in 3rd position. So Ollie Clark looking good. What can he do about Daniel Stell now up the road ahead of him? Joey Van Splundtrum still sits there 4/10 to the good of Daniel Stell, but the top 3 closing up once more on this 6th lap of the race. Very, very close racing between the front runners. Van Splundtrum has a quick look over his shoulder just to see where Daniel Stell is on the track compared to him. And Daniel Stell looking to pick up the pace this time round. He has gone and done a better lap time there. It shows from the amount he's pulled away from Ollie Clark and how he was throwing the car into the final corner as well. So Daniel Stell now is the quickest man on circuit. He goes through to do a 50.898 by the looks of it. So yeah, Daniel Stell, the German racer, doing well. Ollie Clark still 3rd. 4th place is Abdallah Arahawi, and 5th place still with him is Christopher Chennai. Those two fighting there for 4th and 5th. Then the close fight for 6th and 7th is between Jan-Philipp Springup and Isaac Valterman, who's had a great race so far. And there's a move being made down the inside line goes the man of Isaac Valterman, now moving ahead of Joey Springbob. So those two have switched around. In fact, Jan-Philipp Springbob. Leader through once more, then on to lap number 8 we go, with the race leader still being Joey Van Splundtrum. A 1/4 of a second separating the top 2, but can Daniel Stell find his way through? He's got to be very quick here, because if he doesn't make a move, he may be under pressure once more from Ollie Clark. Those 3 now well ahead of everyone else. Abdallah Arahawi is a 2.5 adrift at the minute. He's got his own battle to work with, because Christopher Chennai is on his tail by just a 1/4 of a second for 4th and 5th places. And then Isaac Valterman, as we say, going through for 6th, ahead now of Jan-Philipp Springup. 8th place for Jana Gewurz, starting to make up a few places, but still finds himself down in 8th. 9th place then for Manuel Gallifrey-Torna, and then 10th place for Patrick Kibble at the end of that previous lap. And Splundtrum through once more then. 8 laps to be ticked off. On to lap number 9 we go with Joey Van Splundtrum. How much does he lead by this time? It's 0.2 of a second, so still Daniel Stell on the case of our race leader, and Ollie Clark right there. One of these is going to be a first-time winner today, after Mark Kimber and Brett Ward have been winners. Mark Kimber with the 1 win. Brett Ward now a double winner after his earlier race. So Brett Ward looking good for pole position for the pre-final. But for now, we're trying to get a first-time winner out of this race. Joey Van Splundtrum is really under attack here. Daniel Stell is closer and closer, corner by corner. It's now down to less than 0.2 of a second. And there goes Daniel Stell for his move. He gets the lead away. Nice move done there from Daniel. Caught Joey Van Splundtrum slightly off guard. So he now goes through to take over the lead of the race for the first time in this one. Joey Van Splundtrum down to 2nd as he rumbles over the exit curve there at turn number 13. And Ollie Clark is going to have something to say about this as well in the closing stages of the race. On to lap number 10 we go. It's this one and one more remaining in the fourth senior heat of the day. Top three breaking away. Dalla Arahawi still fourth, and Christopher Chennai sits there in fifth place. It's now Isaac Valtonen, the Swede, who is the quickest man on circuit, down there in sixth place. He's half a second back from Christopher Chennai. He's just gone to do a 50.834, so he is really upping his game in the closing stages. And here comes Joey Van Splinteren as well, up in his game. He pushes wide our leader, one-time leader for one lap, Daniel Stell, and through as well goes Ollie Clark. So we have now got a change for first, second and third. Van Splinteren back ahead, Ollie Clark to second. And look at that, Daniel Stell, who was leading last time through, now drops down to third place. We are about to start the last lap of the race here, all over the curb on the exit. Again, there was Daniel Stell. He's come to pieces. He's dropping back down the field now and could feel the pressure from Dalla Arahawi and also Christopher Chennai before we see the checker flag. So watch out for that fight for third, fourth and fifth places, as the top two to start to break away once more here. Joey Van Splinteren on for a first win of the weekend. Ollie Clark looking racy as well. He could have something to say in the final few corners. Let's see if he makes a move at turn 8. No, we're not quite close enough there, but the battle for third is still on though. Daniel Stell under pressure now from the guys behind. He has a brief look over his shoulder into the last couple of corners. Just one more hairpin to go at turn number 11. Then it's the run down to the left-right flick at turns 12 and 13. I think Joey Van Splinteren has done enough on this last lap to pull away from Ollie Clark, and he will get his first win in the senior class here this weekend in Italy. Joey Van Splinteren comes through to take the checkered flag. He wins again by a very small margin in the senior class. It's just under 0.4 of a second. Second place goes the way of Ollie Clark. Good ride there from the British driver. He'll be happy with that and looks set for, again, a top 5 starting position if everything goes his way in the final heat of the day for him. So he comes through in second. Third place goes the way of Daniel Stell. Unlucky not to be the victor there, but the move from Joey Van Splinteren just put him back down the field. But he'll come through to pick up a solid third place with Dalla Arahawi and Christopher Chennai bringing up the fourth and fifth places. But there is your race winner, 273, Joey Van Splinteren, who wins here in Italy in heat number 4 for the seniors for the Signmind Racing team. Ollie Clark comes through in second. Daniel Stell then for third place. Then we have behind that Dalla Arahawi, Christopher Chennai in fifth, Isaac Valtonen in sixth, Jan-Philipp Springup in seventh. Jana Gavuz recovered to 8th place, but still not the best of performances for him. 9th place for Patrick Kibble, 10th place for Ida Cohen. Then behind that we had Manuel Gallifrey Torna, Sebastian de Grande in 12th, Ewan Long in 13th, Dimitri Fick moved up to 14th, Tom Nippers was 15th, and the two who had strife at the hairpin on the first lap, Ethan Hawke and Manaf Hijawi, come through in 16th and 17th places. So a great run there from Joey Van Splinteren, first winner today for the senior class for him. Ollie Clark second, and Daniel Stell comes through in third. So that is our races done for the mid part of the afternoon, but we've still got 4 more to come here.